Anyway, so again, my name is Jason with the Outstanding Life Show. We cover everything related to alcohol and addiction. We're diving into, today we're chatting about step one, but more so about like our beliefs. And when it comes to beliefs, and in the notes, I've got a little comment there where it says, "He who is swift to believe is swift to forget." And what do I mean by that? So he who is swift to believe, who is swift to forget. Another way of saying that would be, if something is going to last forever, it's going to take that long to build. So if I'm quick to jump from one belief to the next, then I'm not really wholeheartedly believing in it. And so there's always going to be challenges in life, and there's always going to be questions. And there's no shortage of people who will always tell us that they have the answers. I don't know about you, but there's always that circle of people. There's always that guy on Facebook. There's always that guy on Twitter who's always letting you know their opinion. They're always letting you know how to feel or what to think. And in recovery, it can be challenging when you're faced with so much opinion on what to do. In treatment, when I went to rehab, we didn't learn anything about, I don't want to say like how, we were never told what to believe. They were very clear and conscious of that. What they did help us is they conditioned through repetition, being able to break down our belief system that we had before, not in like shattering it, but in shattering old patterns. In breaking apart those patterns, I was able to then set a new foundation of belief, because I can't really build on top of my old belief structure if my old belief structure is what got me into this mess to begin with. If all I'm ever doing is just trying to make the old style work, the old system work, it's only going to get me so far. In fact, it's my old belief system that only got me to a point where I came to believe that I was a wreck, I was a mess, and I wasn't getting any better all by myself. I needed that help. And once I reached out for that help, once I reached out for that support, then I was open to the idea that I could then change my surroundings. I could change my circumstances. I could have say in the outcome. And there's a lot of old beliefs that I was packing around. There was all this old, I almost want to call it baggage. It's not the right word, but it felt like it. It was exhausting holding on to things. I heard this, I saw this YouTube video, and it was an example of a glass of water. And something as simple as a glass of water, it's pretty light. But the lightness of the glass of water has nothing to do with it, really. What matters is how long we're holding on to it. And if I'm holding on to the glass of water for just that, like a couple of seconds, maybe a minute or two, that's not so bad. I can do that. I can get away with that. But if I'm holding on to that same glass of water for an hour, for 3 hours, for half a day, pretty soon my arm is going to feel like it's numb. It's going to feel so heavy. So something as light as a glass of water, for the longer that I'm holding on to it, the heavier it can feel. So an old belief structure that I'm holding on to, I don't want to say it's not adding value. I don't want to discredit that. No, but what I do want to point out is if it's costing me more effort to hold on to things than it is to let them go, then why am I holding on to it? Why are these belief structures that I'm holding on to limiting me and holding me back? If what I'm doing isn't changing, then maybe I should stop and look at my beliefs. If what I'm doing isn't getting better, then maybe that's an opportunity in a healthy way, to challenge myself to think of what else would I need to do to help break this down. And that's where the trust component can come in. I didn't have a sense of trust beforehand in something else. I had these walls built up. I don't know about you, but I had these huge walls that I built up, and I reinforced them, and they were not helping me, serving me. They were keeping everything out, and they were not letting anything in. And the more I reinforced those walls, the less beliefs I let in, the less opportunity that I shared out. Like I didn't have anything coming in or out, and nothing was changing. I was reinforcing those walls more and more than I was entertaining the ability of possibly even changing. And It wasn't until things built up to the point that I couldn't handle it anymore. My life had become unmanageable, they say. And once I got to that point, then I was at a spot where I could start asking questions. And it was in the treatment program that I was able to identify, hey, you know what? It's not my beliefs themselves. It's how I'm choosing to believe in them. And once I restructured my mindset as to how I approach belief, I was able to then let recovery in. In all honesty, it didn't happen overnight. Like, I think that probably took me a good 2 or 3 weeks in rehab before I broke down the fourth wall. And once I broke down that fourth wall, it felt like my first day of recovery, even though I had been in the treatment center for 2 or 3 weeks by then. Was it an easy experience? No. But through that support, through that help, through that, it's hard to believe in yourself in those moments, like when you reach that raw moment, when you feel like you're on empty, when you don't have anything, when things aren't just working out and you're not sure what to do. It's hard to have that belief. And this is where the idea of a higher power for me had become a huge win. Because when I felt like I couldn't believe anything, the guys around me, the support system around me, the guys at the treatment center would reference a higher power. And as I dove more into it, the higher power can mean what you want. You know, the higher power can mean something as simple as the rest of the group of the fellowship, we call it. And if that's the extent of your higher power, you can hold yourself accountable. You can hold yourself to show up to those meetings. And if that's what drives you, then perfect. If your higher power is something bigger than yourself, then that's amazing. But that's the main thing. The higher power is not you. The higher power is not my ego. The higher power is not my beliefs. The higher power is something other than that. And the sooner that I can break that wall down, the sooner I can let things in and let things out. I can entertain ideas. I can share them. I can be open and honest and transparent. And in doing so, you know, it doesn't happen again in the first instance. It takes that consistency. It takes that habitual, I don't want to say conditioning, because you develop that sense of trust over time. And that's what allows me to grow, not in just opening that idea, but it's in following through with that belief. It's in following through with that consistency. And if I'm only ever holding on to beliefs, if I'm never facing the music, that was the title of today. It's time to face the music. It's time to face the facts. And I can't do that if I've got these walls built up. And I can't do that if I'm holding on to old beliefs. If these beliefs are limiting, then it doesn't matter the size of the cup of water. What matters is how long I'm holding on to it and how hard it's going to get after a while. But it's got nothing to do with the beliefs themselves. It's got nothing to do with the glass of water, but it's got everything to do with how I'm approaching it. And the more I'm willing to let that go, the more I'm willing to let go of my ego, the more willing I'm going to be able to put into recovery. And that's the other part, is I'm only going to get out of recovery as much as I'm willing to put in. If I'm never willing to try anything, I'm probably not going to get anything out of it. It doesn't matter if it's a relationship, a job, or exercise, or treatment. The idea is treatment as my example. But if I'm only going to go to the gym and work out for 20 minutes, I'm probably going to get 20 minutes worth of results. But if I'm putting in an hour every day, I'm probably going to get a lot more results consistently. If I put in time to action change and follow through, I'm going to get a lot more result out of it. So if what I want is something different than what I currently have, then I have to be willing to embrace that. I have to be willing to challenge that in a healthy way. And I have to be willing to have a higher power that's something bigger than myself, bigger than my ego. Okay, so in each one of these episodes, we do have a call to action. We do have a gratitude of the day. So today's gratitude is, I'm thankful that my higher power is here with me, and it's showing me the truth. It's showing me something other than my limiting beliefs. And for me, I appreciated that my higher power believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And if that for you means your group, your surrounding, or if it's your higher power, or what you choose to believe is spirit, or however you phrase that, again, It's okay to have these questions. It's okay to not know the answers. But that's what this show is about. It's about asking those questions. It's about challenging those beliefs. It's about breaking down those barriers. If you're new here, let me know. If this is the first time you're watching, again, we appreciate all the feedback and the questions you guys ask, but I appreciate each and every one of you who show up. So again, we've got the gratitude of the day, but we also have a second piece, and it's an action of the day. And so today's action, I have it written down that today I'm just going to focus on my first step. And I know that I'm powerless over my addiction, but do I truly believe it? Like at my core, at my being, anyone can say something, just like that advice we said at the beginning. There's always people out there who are willing to share their advice, but is it truly being heard? And if I tell myself that I'm powerless over my addiction, but do I truly believe it? There were people that I had met in the treatment program who they had been through the program 3 or 4 times, and they would share that this is what they're in for and this is what they're committed to. But then they identified that they themselves didn't truly believe it. And it wasn't until they broke down that 4th wall that they were open and willing. So it's one thing to be open, but it's another thing to be willing. It's okay to believe it, but then do you truly believe it? It's okay to say it, but am I truly carrying the message? And that's what, for me, that's what a lot of this show is about. It's not about just identifying that there's a message, but it's also to share it. And so I'm sharing that with you, and I want to thank you for being a part of this message. It's about being a part of today. I know that there's always questions out there, and it's always risky as to who do you believe. And I think that's where we get back to what is it not what you want to believe, but what is the structure behind your beliefs? Like, what is it that's leading you up to it? If how I'm choosing to believe in it isn't serving me in a healthy way, if this glass of water I'm holding on to for so long is setting me back, water is healthy, water is supportive, it's water. But if it's causing me pain, and if it's setting me back, and if these beliefs aren't serving me, then I have to stop and ask myself, is it truly adding value? Maybe it's time to let go of the water. Maybe it's time to drink the water and move on. What is it they say? The glass is always half empty or half full. It's an opportunity to consume the other half of the water and move forward. That's my side. Anyway, thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being a part of today, and I really appreciate that. Take care, everybody. Craig, I really appreciate that. Maddie, it looks like you're here. How was work? Thanks for stopping by. I know you take a minute out of your day, and I really appreciate you, Maddie, for I wanted to chat with you, and you sponsored, it's my birthday coming up, everybody, in a couple of weeks, and I decided to set up a Facebook charity, and it's for my birthday. If you go to my wall, there's like a birthday thing where if you wanted to sponsor money, it's going to go directly to the treatment center that helped me out, and they have a charitable organization. There's a number there, and it's all done through Facebook. So Maddie, you took a minute and you put some of your hard-earned money behind it, and I want to say thank you. That really means a lot to me. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. But in the meantime, take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have fun, everybody. Bye.